Welcome back, guys, to Walk-Ins Welcome, and we have something special today. Nick is actually sick. As he said, he sounds like a 60-year-old smoker right now, and I don't think you guys wanted to hear that. But today we actually have Devin. Introduce yourself, Devin.
Hey, I'm Devin, and excited to be here. I don't know if I can fill in so much for Nick, but I'm going to do my best, and we're going to have some fun today.
Absolutely. So Devin, he is on our team. He helps on the sales side of the thing. He puts out a lot of content actually on LinkedIn and other places. So you may have seen his face somewhere, but he's been working with a lot of urgent cares, and he's probably talks to urgent cares more so than we do, I would say.
Yeah, I'm typically going to be somebody that you would talk to if there was a potential to do business together. But yeah, try to get resources out there, and happy to be on the podcast to get to hear my voice for once. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, and we actually will have another coworker on the show in a couple episodes, and so I look forward to talking about that as well. So, but let's get started. So this episode, we went back and looked at some analytics, and we were trying to see what people had interest in, and you guys really liked us talking about reviews. We touched on it on a previous episode, did not have a dedicated one to it, but so today we're going to talk about reviews. Now, reviews are important. Wouldn't you agree, Devin?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, not only from the standpoint of the urgent care itself, but from like our standpoint from digital marketing, you make our lives so much easier if you have reviews. Now, we're in particular saying Google reviews. Reviews can come in other formats than just that. But ultimately, when people do a search, they come across you, they're going to go straight to Google reviews because a 2.1 out of 5 on Google looks a whole lot worse than a 4.5 out of 5 on for your competitor. So keep that in mind. But let's go through this. So first basic question, why are reviews important? Devin, what?
Yeah, so in our world, reviews are super important in comparison to your competitors. So if somebody is going to do some research on an urgent care to talk to, or potentially go into the urgent care, what they're going to look at is they're going to compare a few that are in the same area. And so they are going to basically figure out which one they're going to call based on who has the best reviews. And so those reviews are essentially telling the potential patient that they can trust that urgent care, that if they go in, they're going to have a good experience, hopefully a great experience, or it's going to tell them that they're not going to have a good experience. So essentially it is to build trust before the patient ever even has an introduction to your company, before they talk to the person on the phone, or before they see the person at the front desk when they come in.
Well, and for those out there who are saying, hey, we're plenty busy, I could care less about reviews or whatnot, think about it this way. I give a perfect example, and Devin's going to laugh at this, but I have been working on my shower at my house for a minute.
A long time.
So long. I'm actually done with the shower. I'm doing all the other pieces now around it. But so I needed to order a new shower door. So shower doors are not cheap. They're very expensive. And I found one company. I was like, never heard of this company. And it was like $150 less than the competing company. And it looked good. I was like, this looks really great. I couldn't find reviews on it. I was like, why can't I find reviews? It was like Lowe's.com and they didn't have any reviews. So I plugged their manufacturing name and Googled it and found a review site, and they tore them to shreds. Like, these people hated this shower door. They're like, hey, it broke in 2 weeks. I opened it, it broke. I closed it, it broke. And I was like, yep, you know what? I may have been $150 less than the competitor, but I don't think I want to buy it.
No.
And those simple reviews from people I don't know told me, like, yeah, I don't think so. And I'm the type, like, that took me 2 or 3 minutes to find that. And they lost a sale because of it. And they didn't respond to reviews or anything like that. So there was an opportunity they could have corrected, but there wasn't one. They lost the customer. So take your urgent care. You're busy. You probably have 20, 30, 40, 50 patients a day plus. And you're thinking, I'm plenty busy. I don't care. Well, there are a couple of potentials you may have lost if you have bad reviews out there. Or if you have reviews out there that you don't respond to, good and negative. And to the person that's never met you before, they just you told them a story about your company and you didn't mean to. Yeah. But yeah, Devin, talking about reviews itself. So we talked about the trust side and things like that. What about SEO?
Okay. Yeah. From an SEO perspective, so what you have in a Google search is you have some local listings, or what we like to call the Google Map Pack. This is essentially Google takes the proximity of the search being done. So this is really important when it comes to mobile, which seems like the majority of searches are coming from mobile. So it's super important. But essentially what Google is doing is picking what they believe to be the top 3 businesses to show to that person who's using their search engine, really based around their location. So there's only 3 businesses that can go in that map pack, correct, Michael?
Yep.
And so of those 3 businesses, no matter how good your SEO efforts are, how good your company is, you are up against, if you're in that map pack, you're up against 2 other businesses. So now somebody has 3 options. What is usually the defining factor at that point is going to be the reviews. So if one company has no reviews, bad reviews, let's say they have 50 reviews, okay? And then the next company has 100 reviews, but they have an average of 3 stars. We'll say that. I mean, that's pretty average, right? Yeah. And then let's say that your urgent care, C+, if your urgent care has 1,200 reviews and an average of 4.5 stars, you have just become the one that they are going to look into. They may not even go into the reviews at that point. But let's say the 3 don't have as many reviews. They are going to go dig into and look at what people have to say about your company before they even give you a chance. So that is where reviews can help your SEO efforts and make sure that somebody is talking to you instead of your 2 other competitors in that map pack.
Well, and then the other side of that too. So obviously 5-star reviews are nice, but 5-star reviews with actual content inside of them is better. And we know, not just from urgent cares, but from all industries, when you get a review, you want that customer, that patient, to give details around the review. I had this test done, or I met with this doctor, or this staff member was super nice to me. All of that's helpful because if you notice now when you click on Google reviews, Google automatically indexes and puts at the very top the keywords that it's seeing consistently throughout the reviews. So you definitely don't want a bunch of keywords as slow, rude, like that. I've seen them. Like that's a real thing. You want it to be like quick service, they care, stuff like that. I felt like I got the treatment I needed, things of that nature. It makes a big, big difference. So when you do ask for a review, you encourage a real review, not just a 5-star review. So anyway, so that there's the importance around reviews. Now let's talk about how do I get started. Like if you're a brand new company or you've been around forever but you never embraced getting Google reviews, let's go through that. Now I'm going to be transparent here. This isn't 100% our ideas. We actually did some search. We have our own ideas, but we did some searching trying to find a good list based off of this. We found at databox.com. You go to how to encourage customers to write reviews. They have some good things here, things we've mentioned in the past, but it kind of simplified. They gave us 12 options. We're not going to go over all of them. We're going to pick up some key ones. But the number one, Devin, what's number one?
Number one is asking for a review.
It seemed so simple.
Yep. And podcast over. We got it.
Yeah, done. If you just did that on a regular basis and trained your people, you're good. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And so I will say, so being intentional is what we're talking about. So starting by asking means that you're taking an effort. You're being intentional about asking for the reviews. The companies that don't ask for reviews, what do their reviews look like, Michael?
When they don't ask?
When they don't ask for reviews from their clients.
And they got one anyway?
And they get one anyways. What kind of review do they get?
You're most likely bad.
Right.
Real bad.
Yeah. So we understand that when someone leaves a review, it's either they had a very great experience and they really want to share that with other people, but more likely or more often is somebody who had a bad experience and wants to be a little detrimental to that business to feel like they did something, right?
Yeah.
The third option there is companies that are asking for the reviews and being intentional about asking for reviews, especially since you can determine, you don't want to ask reviews from somebody who had a bad experience, right? So intentionality means somebody had a great experience with you, you ask them for a review, they're more likely to actually go leave a review. And maybe you don't ask the people who you drop the ball a little bit. You don't have to ask them to leave a review. But yeah, so being intentional, asking for reviews. Otherwise, your reviews are going to be, the majority of your reviews are going to be negative experiences.
Yeah, generally speaking. And then talking about maybe you don't ask everybody. So some of the items, so there are like I said, 12 items in this list. We're going to talk about 7 or 8 of them because they are pretty good, but it's almost common sense. But sometimes the most common sense, simple things are the best things to do. But following up, so you ask, did you ask? Now, you've gotten comfortable with asking. Now you need to put a process around the asking stuff so your staff knows how to do it properly and consistently, which can tie into making sure they're doing it to the right customers or patients, because you don't want to ask everyone knowing that a couple of them had a horrible experience. Now you can take the risk, because ultimately they'll still leave you a review if they hate you.
Yeah.
You cannot, by the way, you cannot stop a Google review, and you cannot necessarily remove it unless you submit it and Google thinks it is a bad review in terms of not real or malicious. So just keep that in mind.
And good luck with that.
Yeah, and good luck with that. We've been doing this for quite a few years. I think of all the submissions we've had for customers, 1 or 2 in like 4 years has been removed. It's super duper rare. It can happen, but it's rare. But yeah, so create that process around asking. And then make sure it's written down and it's consistent, and tweak it, right? Because some people may respond. Your process may be great in some scenarios, but not every scenario. So you want to make sure you figure that out. But yeah, so write down that quick process. Then the next thing I have on here is automate the ask. Now, this is something that software can do. This is something your process can do. But the more you can automate things, the more likely they'll get done, because your people are busy. Like, your patients are busy. So it's easy to forget to ask or use the process. But if you have an automation or software that's going to do it for you, it's never busy. It's always going to do it for you. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we live in a time of automation when possible, especially in the digital marketing world.
Oh, yeah.
The more you can automate, the less you have to think about it. And this comes into play and is very important for maybe urgent cares that have, they're a little bit busier than others, right? So not every urgent care is the same. Not every industry is the same. Not every location is the same. So some places are going to have larger numbers than others. So automation, especially for an urgent care that's already maybe taken that step up the plateau and is pretty busy, automation becomes something you have to rely on more and more to make sure that you're not missing anything that you may have done manually when you were a little bit smaller. So automation just makes sure that you are actually following through with the routine that maybe you had when you were a little bit smaller and you could do it yourself. Mm-hmm. As you grow, you have to automate things to make sure that they're getting done.
And sometimes the automation may not be the actual asking in the review. It may be the reminder to your staff to ask that review. Like, because like, for instance, when you have a checkout process with a patient, one of the last checkout items, does this patient need to be asked for a review? And they got to check it off before they can clear out the rest of the process. I mean, it could be that simple. It's automated, right? Like, it's part of it and it's built in. So just keep that in mind. So the next one I have on here is making sure it is as simple as possible for writing a review. Now, that sounds like duh, but it's more to it, because for Google, you have to have a Gmail account to write that review, and you have to know that. So what we know is that if they have a phone, which 99% of people do, you can text them a link to your Google My Business or Google Business Profile, what's called now, a direct link to the review form to fill out, and they can tap and fill it out right then and there. How much simpler could I get, Evan?
I would say in this day and age, that's about as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
You know, you have information on your patients. They fill out forms. You have the information. So, you know, like Michael said, automating the ability to send maybe a text message to their phone to give them a link that will directly take them. They don't have to think about it. And in this day and age with a short attention span, if you don't put it right in front of them, you're less likely going to get an actual response. Mm-hmm. So you have to make it as simple as possible. And these days, it is pretty simple.
Yeah, I can write a review for a customer for a business or whatever in like 10, 15 seconds if I had to.
Right.
The process has gotten very simple. If you don't know how to get that direct review link, just send us a quick email, hello@urgentcaremarketingpros.com, and we have a tutorial how to do it. It's super duper easy. It takes about 5 minutes, and you'll have that link that you can give to every patient that comes through your door if you want to. All right, so you've started asking, you've got a process, you've automated it as much as you can, you made it super, super simple. Now you need to engage with your existing reviews. Now, engagement is important because the last thing you want is that you have a ton of reviews on your Google profile and you don't respond to any of them.
Boo.
Now, why is that bad, Evan?
So out of everything on this list, this one stands out to me pretty highly. And so we mentioned earlier, if somebody gives you a fake review and it's negative towards your business, there is a process where you can submit that to Google. Very rarely is Google going to actually remove that review. So I always tell my clients that more important than the negative review is how your company responds to the negative review. If you get into an argument with somebody who left you a bad review or a fake bad review, when people are looking at reviews and thinking about doing business with you, the way that you respond to your reviews is far more important than the review itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, having that engagement is it's just important. Like, people want to know that you actually care.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I know I went to the negative first. On the flip side, with the positive, you get a positive review, somebody should be replying to those as well. That shows interaction between your company and the people that are doing business with you. And, again, business these days is very relational. And if you are not responding to anybody's reviews, people will see that as you don't really care about us. We are a number to you, and that's about it. And it doesn't take that long to even reply to these things, right?
Well, and I think talking about the caring part, so I think urgent cares tend to for those potential patients never been to an urgent care, they probably think urgent care is more transactional than relational. But, a doctor is a relational piece, and the whole practice is relational. So you help show that, and we'll showcase it through your Google reviews when you respond, especially on the positive ones. I know it's tempting just to ignore it. Okay, it was positive, thank you. But when you say, you're a great patient, we're glad we're able to help you out, thank you again, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just that simple. But I will say this. Now, don't get caught in this spot where you're responding to reviews that happened 2 years ago that you never responded to. That doesn't look right.
Yeah, life moves a little bit too quickly, and that stands out if you're applying to something that long ago.
Yeah, and Google puts a little date on it. 2 years ago, review written response 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That looks bad. So if you have a ton of reviews that you have never responded to and it's been months and months and months, just ignore those and move forward and start with the ones that are like a week or two old, up to maybe a month. I may be stretching it, but start there.
The best time to start responding to reviews was when you started getting reviews. The second best time to start responding to reviews is your next review.
There you go. Yeah, if you don't have a starting point, just start the newest one, unless it's like a year old. So anyway.
But if you're being intentional about asking from this day forward, because now we've given you the worksheet of things to do.
Yeah.
Now you know that you need to be intentional, and so you are asking for them. You might get one today.
And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, I don't want to ask for a review. I feel like that's just, I don't know how you describe it, but like, I don't want to do it. People, if they really like what you did, they're going to give you, they want to give you a good review. I mean, even in our world, when we ask our clients, can you give us a review? Absolutely. We'll give you, they love it. Now, we don't ask the ones that are not happy with us. We got to be honest there. So
who are they? I haven't seen them.
They go away. But anyway, all right. So I have 3 other items here. So I know we're kind of building up on time, so we'll kind of roll through pretty quickly. Offer, and we'll talk on list the 3, and we'll talk about them, and we'll finish up. Offer an incentive, send review request emails at the right time or text message, and then follow up on your request. So offer an incentive. Incentives can be a lot of different things. We've seen customers do, hey, the next 10, you cannot, now generally speaking, Google's not a fan. If you say the next 10 5 out of 5 star awesome reviews, we'll give you a gift card to something. You necessarily can't ask that, but you can ask, hey, the next 10 reviews that are given, we're going to give out something. What do you think, Devin?
I think that's fair. Offering an incentive, what we're not talking about is we're not talking about paying for reviews, because that's a no-no.
Yeah, don't do that.
We are talking about giving them a reason to leave you a review. And that could be a whole lot of other things. Everybody's going to do something a little bit differently. Don't make it a sweepstakes. Don't make it I'll give you a gift card for it type thing. But you're going to have to kind of figure out what that incentive could be. What do people that you do business with, what is it that they want, and what can you provide them to convince them to leave you a review?
Well, and then so you're a local business. You're an urgent care. It's in a local community. How can you support other local communities or local business in that community? So it may be like a dual purpose type thing where you may have a next door to you a restaurant. You say, hey, people give us a review. You're going to get a gift certificate to that restaurant because we know you're hungry and you're going to get that. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. And like I said, incentives can be all sorts of stuff. If you have an incentive that's been working for you, please email us, comment on our episode, let us know, because we're not going to have every magic answer. We love to hear feedback on what's working. And we also have a Facebook group that you can post in as well, so we encourage you to go find that. So next we have send review request, emails at the right time or text. So the list said emails, but I added text because I honestly, when we talked about, I think texting is way more response rate than an email.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And at the time is right, the time is now. You want to send it when they're fresh, right? You don't want to send it to them 2 weeks later. They're not going to care. They're going to think it's spam at that point. Mm-hmm. Like if I get a text from a doctor that I haven't seen in 2 or 3 weeks, hey, can you please do this review? Like, no. Like I got other things to do. But if I'm at checkout and it's right there and I have that person ask me, sure, why not? Why not? It's a lot more likely in the moment than later. And then follow up on your request. Now, this you can be careful with because following up on requests can either be suck a lot of time out if you can't automate it. And then also, you want to be timely with it. You don't want to send, like I said, don't want to send stuff months later, but you do want to have a reminder if you can. And it's got to make sense. What are your thoughts, Devin?
Yeah, the idea behind that is continuing the relationship past the transaction. So by following up on these requests, you're making sure that you're getting the review, but you're also building a relationship. Again, it helps the customer, the client, the patient understand that you care enough to have thought about them to even follow up on your request for that review. And they say, oh, you noticed that I didn't leave the review yet. Like that is noticing me as a person and not as a profit margin.
Well, and add to that, that reminds people that you're a local business. You're not a conglomerate type of thing. So because reviews are important to us all. Like as an owner of an urgent care, or you work there as an urgent care and you're listening, you're part of that community that you're serving, and people recognize like you're a real person. You're not just a transaction. So, yeah. Yeah,
and just to add to that real quick, I have gotten a lot of feedback over the years that is a very important part of urgent care marketing, is understanding your community and knowing that you are the community's answer in their time of need. Without that relationship, you are going to lose out to your competitors.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, if you have a competitor that does better with relationship building with their patients, even if it seems minor, they have a higher chance of bringing on more. So just keep that in mind. I know we have competitive people listening. Let's up the competitiveness on your reviews, and that's the starting point. All right, so that was the episode. I want to go through it real quick. We hate that Nick was not here today, but I think, Devin, did you have fun?
I had a blast. I'll be interested to see what kind of reviews this podcast gets.
Oh, no. Actually, yes.
Please leave a review.
Please. Let's start with the list. We're going to ask, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you listen. Please leave us a review. Please put content to it. Don't just say 5 stars. We love the more you do that, the more we go up the list on anything related to urgent care marketing. So we really appreciate that. But all right, guys, I will catch you on the next one, and hopefully Nick will be feeling better, and you'll hear from him.
All right, thanks for having me. Y'all have a great one.
All right, see ya.